Hi, I'm Jake, and today I'm going to give you a full tour of my self-converted camper van. So I had a few key priorities when designing this space. I wanted to make sure I had a comfortable bed, room to host guests, a spacious kitchen with a decent sized countertop, and also an electrical setup that could handle charging all my devices as a photographer and videographer on the road. So I'm going to jump outside, show you the exterior, and then we'll come back in and go over each part bit by bit. So the van itself is a 2019 Peugeot Boxer L2H2 or medium wheelbase, which basically means you can park in most parking spaces and can be driven in all of the low emission zones, which I never really go to anyway. And yes, I have given her a name, so meet Sandy. I know, Scandi Sandy, a bit basic, but what can I say? I'm just a bit basic. So honestly, I don't really know too much about engines, so I couldn't tell you that stuff even if I wanted to, but she runs well and she gets me from A to B, enjoys being outside and soaking up the sunshine, checking out all of the viewpoints and long walks on the beach. Right, enough of a day in profile, let's get back to it. I didn't do too much exterior modifications. I added 3 windows, 1 on each of the doors, just in case it went horrendously wrong and then I had to change out a door, but luckily that wasn't the case. I also added 600 watts of solar panels on the roof and installed a max air fan. And underneath the van is an underslung water tank and my fill point, but that's it. All the fun stuff is on the inside. So when you come in this van, I think the main feature that stands out is obviously how woody it is. Not everyone likes that. Personally, I love it, but I was a bit concerned about it looking a bit too much like a sauna, but luckily I think it doesn't do that. No offense if you like the sauna look. So all of this wood that you see is poplar plywood, which if you're not familiar with it, is a more specialist plywood. You can't get it in B&Q and the general home stores, but you can get it from the specialist places. Anyway, it's a gorgeous wood. Like the grain it has is incredible. So I really wanted to highlight that and showcase that in my van, because when I saw it, I was like, I need to use that. And it's all treated. So obviously I didn't want to paint it because I would hide that. So it's all treated with oil, Osmo oil. And I chose the one that has the white pigmentation so that when you put it on, it retains the natural color of the wood. Because a lot of the time when you oil or dye something, it will then just like go a bit darker. Or leave like an ambery effect, which I definitely didn't want in this one. And yeah, it did well. So let's go through the van. I'll start at the back and work to the front, because there's not too much to show in this van. It is quite small, but we'll go for it anyway. Before I show you the kitchen, I just wanted to highlight my wooden framing, because I'm really proud of it. I spent far too long perfecting and scribing this to make it fit perfectly, but I love the end result. I mean, whatever view I'm parked by, it gives it such a nice frame. Yeah. Oh, before anyone asks about the tail lights, to change a bulb, all I've got to do is take out 2 screws in these cupboards. This drops down, and then another 2, and then these pull out. So it is accessible. Just takes a couple of minutes, but I think it's well worth it to have this kind of aesthetic rather than just slapping some carpet on there. So this is my kitchen. The countertop is an 18mm birch plywood with white melamine, I believe. Bit of a questionable bold choice maybe to have white, but it matched the aesthetics I was going for, and it's held out very nicely so far in the last 2 months, so I've got high hopes for it to continue doing so. Over here I've got a 3-in-1 tap, so it's got hot, cold and a filtered line for drinking water. I got a nice big sink, undermount style, so it can be countertop when I need it to be, and a sink when I want to do washing up. It's a good sized sink as well. Like, I think a lot of people put small sinks in their van, and I appreciate that space is a premium, but washing up is just so much nicer when you've got a large sink. And down here, obviously my kitchen cupboards and drawers. Hopefully you notice there's a nice continuous pattern of grey around here. I drove 2 hours back to the ply shop just to get one sheet to do all the faces with the same one, so that I could have this continuous grain happening. Worth it though, I think. So the reason why I put the sink and the tap and all the plumbing on this side of the kitchen was purely so I could have a shower point here that I could then feed through the window or just enjoy when the doors were open. So a lot of people have this on the outside of their vans, but I put it here. You just plug this in. It's a trigger head hose, so it only comes out when you're holding it down. And yeah, if you're in a quiet enough spot, you can have a nice outdoor shower in the bath. Okay, so underneath my kitchen sink is your very basic under sink cupboard. So you've got your cleaning supplies, a bin, kitchen towel, nice heart-shaped one that was in the sale, water pump, accumulator, water filter. All of the plumbing is done with these John Guest push fit plumbing. It's a challenge to make them leak, so I recommend those because they're so easy. And yeah, this 6-litre water heater, which has been brilliant. You can either turn it on and off, and then it takes about 90 minutes, or you can leave it on, and whenever you've got a voltage above a set reading, it basically just starts heating the water anyway. But I turn it off because I don't need hot water all the time. And that's it. All my water is supplied from a 96-litre underslung tank. So being underneath the vehicle, it obviously doesn't take up space on the inside of the van, which is very nice. And I haven't had any issues with it actually. Considering I've slept in Scotland in negative temperatures, it didn't freeze somehow. So yeah, that's done quite well. So yeah, that's my water setup. So the middle part of the kitchen has 2 drawers and a cupboard. So this cupboard just houses some food that doesn't go into a fridge, and also my pots and pans. And I added this lip on all the shelves on here and also the other cabinets so that nothing can just slide out and smack the door and fling it open. I also built it with a toe kick or a plinth for the same reason. So I didn't put a base in, instead the base is the actual floor, and that way nothing can actually just fly out. This one is just my cutlery drawer with a chopping board, utensils, kettle and some mugs. I quite like my cork coasters, they're quite nice, so I think they match the aesthetics quite nicely. And then on the last one is a slide out table / desk, so when I'm eating I can either eat like this, or if I'm with someone we can kind of share the table this way, or if I'm working, use a laptop and hopefully enjoy a nice view too. So all of the drawers, oh, didn't make it. All the drawers are on soft closers. Actually, so are the cupboards. And it's got 2 functions. One, so that it doesn't just smack when and make a lot of noise. And 2, because a soft close has like a point of resistance, and until you go past that, it always goes back to the enclosed. And then that also just helps it stay shut and doesn't just fly open, because I haven't put any catches on here. And after 2 months of driving windy roads and crazy pothole ridden roads in Scotland, they haven't flown open, so I'm pretty confident they won't do that. And then lastly, just another drawer, kind of like a junk drawer. I have this 80-litre fridge, which is shockingly empty right now, but does normally have a lot of food. It's so much more spacious than the 50-litre fridge. And yeah, I love how much space I've got. Also, the new Domestics come in black, which is very nice because it matches the rest of my accents. No kitchen, of course, is complete without space to cook, and that's what this is. It's just a push to open drawer, which then reveals my induction cooktop. I like cooking on induction. I've got a good enough battery that I can handle it. Even in the UK, I will admit though, I do have a camping stove for when the battery is struggling, which has happened once when I didn't move for an entire week. So there was no charging the battery while I was driving, and obviously being winter, there's not that much sunlight at the moment. But yeah, I love it. Nice and easy to clean, small footprint, so it goes away, hides away when I don't need it, leaves the rest of the space ready for whatever else I want to use the countertop for. Right, let's move on to the bed and sofa. I definitely used to be in team fixed bed, but now, since I've tried this out for the last 2 months, I don't think I'd go back. The amount of space this gives you in the daytime is incredible. Even if I had a longer van, I would choose a non-fixed bed just for the amount of space it gives you, because even if you've got a long van, it's still small space, isn't it? And also I like the fact that it gives you a clear separation, a distinction between a place to hang out in the daytime and a place to go to sleep. But I do appreciate the fact that if you've got a lot of bulkier items or bikes, then a fixed bed with the garage option is decent for you. However, I'm so proud of this. Let me show you. Okay, the hat's gone on because the wind is doing my nutting. So basically the bed works like this. It pulls out on these heavy duty runners rated to 220 kilograms, but it also is on a hinge so I can access the storage space underneath. And there's quite a lot of storage space. I mean, I fit in there, I did check. I just use it for my not needed everyday items really. So got some outdoor camping stuff and spare backpacks and jumpers and random bits and bobs. So you pull the slats out, flatten the bed and put your sheets on and it's ready. Now I reckon it takes underneath a minute. So I think what I'll do is I'll put a timer on and I'll see how long it actually takes me. Although now I've just said that, I am questioning it. So I'm just gonna get the bottom sheet out just to give me a bit of a head start because I'm feeling the pressure. So timer, go. All right, so this side must be the bottom because it's got the label. I'm not even gonna do it quick, you know, I'm that confident, it takes so quick. Right, I put this on first while I got this space to still access and walk on. I did used to do it when it was flat, but it was a lot more fappy. So there we go. Find a slot, there it is. Pull it out. Flatten it down, excellent. Pillow, there. Bottom sheet. Oh no! That was the least effective way I've done it. Oh no! I was kneeling on it then as well, but there you go. Surely that was underneath a minute. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. And then yeah, so that's it, that's the bed. And oh yeah, if I'm a lucky boy, there's a spare pillow for a guest. Or, you know, just a mate. Actually, technically, so even though it's a small van, because of the bed design being legless, technically you can fit 3 in, so you can get 2 in the bed and 1 underneath. So I've got a camping mattress, which fits in this space underneath, so they could have their legs underneath the bed and their top half in this open area to be slightly less claustrophobic. So that's it. That's my bed. I like it. I'm pretty proud of it. I think it's a very nice, good design. It's quick to set up. Oh, and the slats, the runners are so good. Like, granted, I'm only 75 kilograms, so I'm not the heaviest person, but I mean, they're not going anywhere. And if you've got someone else sleeping next to you, anchoring that side, then it's probably even stronger. But I've got a lot of confidence in these runners. Pretty happy with it. And then to put it away, obviously it's just the same in reverse. I don't always sleep this side though. Sometimes I'll sleep on this side so that in the morning I can open the doors and enjoy the view. Because right now I'm looking at some Highland cows and yeah, it's lovely. Okay, continue putting the bed away. Done. Simple, easy, quick. I love that design. I think it's one of the better bed designs I've seen. I know it's very similar to the normal one, but having the legless design is pretty cool. And to finish off this side of the van is just the upper cabinets, which run the whole length down. This one, they're kind of, yeah, hi, this one here, to do with the kitchen. It's got bowls and some food. Again, more food. This is more like breakfast and teas. This is my shower cupboard. Not the shower, but like all the things necessary for hygiene and, you know, got my shampoo, conditioner, aftershave, deodorant, yeah, shower stuff. This one is my, oh, I got a candle in here. God, I love it. It's a lemon fragranced one. And my resistance bands, so I can keep somewhat level of fitness while traveling in the van. And my socks and pants and random knickknacks, and you saw that one already. That's the pillow. I've been meaning to put a plant here, I just haven't found one that I like well enough yet. Let's just take a moment to appreciate the ceiling, because I did this with a circular saw, which I was pretty proud of. So obviously the Slats is nothing new, a lot of people do it, but most people tend to use a black back into it, which just makes it seem really dark. And also most LED strip lights have a white diffuser, so when you've got black and then just a white strip, it looks a bit weird. So I love the white because it just makes it seem more airy and much lighter. Anyway, that's my ceiling. I was pretty happy with that. All right, moving on. I'm sorry about waffling, but we're getting there. So this is my little side unit. It's got a drawer on the top. It's got a carbon monoxide alarm for when I'm running the diesel heater, which lives underneath the driver's seat. Just general bits and bobs. Got a speaker, my drone, and some books. And then this is just a cupboard for my yoga mat and a backpack. And I think a lot of people would assume that this is a toilet or a shower cubicle, but it's actually just a floor-to-ceiling cupboard. Yeah. So Sandy is not just a looker. She's actually got quite a hefty brain, and that brain lives in here at the bottom. So you saw my bedding earlier, that lives there. And then I've got some clothes up there, which I need, well, which I don't need, clothes up there which I use more often than like spare jumpers and stuff. And then, yeah, you might have noticed in this van there's no outlets on display or places to plug into. That's because it's all hidden in this cupboard. I did that because when I've had outlets on display before, I find it just gets so cluttered when I'm charging stuff. I charge a lot of stuff. Like I've got camera gear, drones, laptops. It just mounts up here. It's a bit messy. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to have a dedicated space and chuck it all in there. So that's what this shelf is. And this is my switch panel, which controls the whole van. So I've got my light switches, 3 of them. So if it's dark, everyone's got a torch on them now. So it doesn't matter if you don't have a switch immediately available. But these are illuminated, so you open the door and then you can see exactly where you are. 3 light switches, 1 for the ceiling, 1 for underneath the cabinet, and 1 for the plinth. My diesel heater, my water level gauge, so I'm currently at 25%. All of my USB charging and 12 volt charging, and then some 230 outlets for charging stuff like maybe my laptop, although I charge my laptop from 12 volt now, so mainly gets used for a blender or just to charge my Hoover. The induction cooker has its own outlet, which it runs to on that side. So the whole lower section is dedicated just to the electrical setup, which is quite a beefy one. Obviously with the induction cooker, I need a decent sized inverter. This one is 3000 watts. I probably could have got 2000, but I can use the induction cooker while also blending some things. I also have a consumer unit that goes with the inverter for the AC current. Next to that is a 12 volt fuse box. Below that is the links distributor, which is really cool because it takes the bus bars and the breakers and puts it all into one nice neat unit. Below that is the MPPT charge controller, which takes the energy from the solar panels and converts it into something that the batteries can handle. And next to that is the Orion XS DC to DC charger, so I can charge the leisure battery while I am driving. And all of this is powered by my 460 amp hour lithium battery, which I got from Fogstar. And I actually built this whole unit based on the dimensions of that battery. It's brilliant. It's been such a good bit of kit, especially considering it's been winter and the sun, I know the sun's out today, but winter in the UK, the sun doesn't normally exist. So I've been very impressed with this battery. It's also got a heating element inside. So if it gets too cold, it protects itself. Unlike my previous batteries, which kind of died in the cold. So yeah, that's all of my electrics, really. And lastly, my controller for the fan. So then at the bottom, I've got 2 boxes. This one has my Hoover adapters for when I'm cleaning the van. And this is just a bunch of charging cables. My laundry bag, which is obviously empty right now because I did a laundry recently. And my slippers, look how cute they are. And this is to go with the toilet. One of my favorite things about this van is this swivel seat, because it just makes the van seem so much more spacious than it is. I love it, especially now when you're in such a nice scenic view area. You can sit here and you've got views out the back door, the side door, and all around you. It really is nice to have a swivel seat. It opens it up so much more than if you didn't have it. Underneath it, I've got a little step, which just hides all of my shoes, which being a guy, I don't have too many of. And that's it. That kind of leads me on to the last thing, which is the toilet. So I did have a different toilet in here originally. I bought one of those compost ones and I built a box for it and I had it in this space here, but it just took up too much space. I will say I still prefer to go to a public toilet if I can, but if I'm somewhere remote and I can't find a public toilet, I will use this. Now this is a pop-up toilet, so basically it's just a collapsible bucket. So it's just got a nice place for you to sit on as opposed to just squatting over a bag. But it's not just any bag, it's not a plastic bag, it's a cornstarch compostable bag. So it's going to break down and you do your business, but obviously you're no longer separating the liquids and the solids like a compost one. So how do I deal with that? There's this thing you can get called sodium polyacrylate. You pour a bit of that in there and it instantly turns any liquids into a gel. They use it in hospitals. If you've ever seen someone bedbound and they use like a little jug, in that jug you find this powder so that when the nurse comes and takes it away, it's not just a liquid sloshing around, it's been gelified. So then that deals with the liquid, the solids are still your solids, and then afterwards you just bag it up, which I admit will be slightly less gross if you've ever had a dog, because hopefully you're picking up their poos. And then if you're somewhere where there's a bin, you get rid of it straight away. And if there's no bin, then you put it in an airtight container and you get rid of it the next time you pass the bin. Just because it's only a small bag, you can normally find them very easily. That's my solution. I didn't think I'd like it. I think it's so much better than what I was using before. So that is kind of it. I mean, there's not a lot of hidden features and gadgets like some bands have. It's simple, but I like simple. And yeah, I think a lot of people would say that this is definitely more style over substance and functionality, but not for me. Like I said before, I'm used to minimalism, so I've been enjoying this band so much over the last 2 months. Oh, the one thing I'm not that overly fond of is the doors, because I've only put wood in like the template areas as opposed to in the inset areas, as opposed to having it fully cladded. But I do quite like the fact that I can use magnets and hook things up when I need to, just drying my towels and stuff. But windows are quite cool though. They're the bonded ones, but they've got the built-in fly screens, which is handy, and that's on all of them. And that's it. If you made it this far, I'm impressed. And that concludes the tour of my Scandi camper van. I'm sure I missed so many things up, but if you've got any specific questions, just write a comment down below and I'll get back to you. And also, if you made it this far, just give me a thumbs up and maybe even write a comment as well, because I appreciate you watching and sticking around through all of that waffling. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you haven't seen the video I uploaded before this, which is all about how this was built, then go check that out if you're interested. And I shall see you in the next one. Cheers.